Yep.
Hello. Was on mute.
We were all on mute.
I was going to say.
We were all on mute. Take it away, Shadow Loose.
Oh, me?
It's your game.
This is your game there, buddy.
That's right. Okay. Well,
like, what?
It was funny because Freedom said you're hosting, and then you responded yes, and I was like, okay.
That's why I was like, okay.
The shindig. So I was like, I guess we got to figure it out. Well, hi everybody to First Round Showdown. This last, well, shoot, how many was it? 2 weeks? It wasn't greater than 2 weeks. It was the last 2 weeks or something, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We did Ranger X for the Sega Genesis, which was the first and last entry into the series. Unfortunately, they never made another one. And I believe the studio that made it, I don't think is even around anymore. I think they're completely done for, which stinks because as you'll probably find out, I won't spoil it, but I kind of enjoy this game a little bit.
Did he really? A Sega Genesis game? What?
It's one of the few. I mean, I wouldn't have recommended it if I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
It's one of the very few Genesis games that I like. It did come out in 1993, and it was, as games were back in the day, spread out, across various months. But I think every single market it released in 1993. So everybody got to enjoy this wonderful little, I would argue, gem. I was just looking up the company that made them. It looks like they were defunct in 2016. So they died, I guess, what does that make it? 8 years ago? They just went out of it.
Yeah.
Looks like they did a lot of, I think we talked about this. I was trying to remember the first time when we announced it, but they did a lot of the Resident Evil. They did Dino Crisis, the Dreamcast Time Crisis games. So they did a lot of really fun, some arcadey games, some of the more, I guess, survival horror games. But anyway, they're gone forever. And so is Ranger X. I wonder who owns that IP now. I wonder who technically owns Ranger
X.
Can
you imagine if they did a new gen console remake of this, 3D, the graphics, the gameplay? I think it would be one of those amazing games if the right company actually did it and did the transitioning correctly, and made it a little bit more. I mean, I don't know if I would really want it to be too realistic. I could see it looking really good as in a Crackdown cell shaded type of gameplay. I don't know about realistic though.
I see what you're saying. I think it needs a Shredder's Revenge.
Yes, something like that. Like Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, that type of cell shaded cartoon ish. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's I don't know. It's just it's really, really. It has some really interesting mechanics that I can't think of many other games at the time had, and definitely not for the Genesis. That's for sure. And I don't know. It's one of those few gems that I always had in my collection. I feel like I would talk to people about, and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's back when you thought anybody who had a Genesis obviously knew what Ranger X was.
You would have figured, yeah.
Yeah, but they do not. They do not at all. So I don't know. Do we have any before we get into our footage, is there? I was gonna look up. I was gonna try to find a commercial. I couldn't even find a commercial for this to play. But
real quick, we got some great people in here. We got Josh Chaos. Diablo is here. He goes by Josh. Hokey just came in and said, "Hey guys, hope everyone is well. Thank you guys so much for stopping in this round of First Round Showdown." Yes, like Shadowloose was talking about, we played Ranger X for the Genesis this week. Man, they didn't even have a commercial.
I really tried
to
look.
A TV spot or something. Maybe maybe it's just one of those. Maybe half of the people didn't really know about it.
Well, it might have been like one of those things where it's like you would open up the manual, the back of the manual. It's like, also check out these 10 other games. Like,
right.
I figured it was probably one of those things to where it existed and it was just like in the marketing realm of other things. You probably saw a poster of it or something, but it wasn't enough to warrant that Super Bowl commercial. But
wow,
I do like this game. I do thoroughly like this game.
All right, now that I've got everything set up, I can talk again.
Okay.
It just took me a minute to get everything. I'm sorry, guys, that we were running late. That's my fault. I had to go
blame
do
you
some stuff,
specifically.
So, it was my fault. I blamed myself. You don't have to blame me.
I was literally running from a job interview after the second round interview, so I'm just like, oh crap, I gotta get. It's like I gotta get in podcast mode.
Hokey says you guys should have your First Round Showdown on Spotify too, and make it a podcast. We've been juggling that idea. We've just been trying to get everything together, and that could be a possibility at some point soon. I don't know. We've got to kind of figure out,
we got to go through and bleep out all the F-bombs.
Oh, we don't
really have many, but like
you do not.
If we wanted to reach a broader audience, we do.
Well, the nice thing about Spotify too is that Spotify has a whole there's a special website for Spotify. It's like podcast for Spotify, and basically you can upload it in one place and say, "Hey, here's my accounts for 10 other podcast places," and it just like Spotify's like the hub that'll host it for you, and it'll shoot it out to everybody else. So we could totally do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, we were talking about that as one of the possible ideas when we very first started this. Before we very first started some of the ideas, so it's just something we kind of have to iron out and I guess figure out. Mainly, I mean, we could really take the audio from all the episodes we've done so far and just kind of go through and just bleep out the few problem words that we've had, but
fuck that.
Clean up Shadowloo's potty mouth,
Come on, like whatever. We'll live.
Oh, right.
You guys worry too much.
Are you guys ready to see some gameplay?
Yeah,
man.
Sure.
Freedom, you're gonna go first.
Alrighty. Roll that footage, as you say. I keep forgetting you put the intro on there.
I do. It's okay. Do your own video too. You're like,
I definitely enjoyed this one too. Like you were saying, Shadowloose. When this very first got picked and we were talking about it, I was thinking, I know I've played this before. And like I said before, when we were talking about Sega Genesis before, I feel like I've played this for the very first time when I had the Sega channel. I really enjoy the sprite work on this. The game was pretty fluid. Took me a few times to get through this. It was just like, at certain parts of the level, there were so many things coming at you at the same time. It's like you're praying that, like all these things that are flying at you, all these different enemies, it's like literally continue after continue after continue, and then, there's no password to continue. You literally have to restart the game over. I like the boss battles on this. It was pretty outside of the box thinking. I couldn't figure this guy out at first, like my first couple times, and then I realized once he opened his eye, you pretty much did that. So many different things coming at you. But like I said, it didn't make it overly difficult. The music on each level was pretty sweet. Every single boss battle was something completely different. I mean, you had to just figure out what the sweet spot was. I'm kind of upset the fact that they didn't have another one. because this one definitely is a gem. I did wind up beating it. Like I was telling Slow-Mo earlier, it was literally by the skin of my teeth. And yeah, there's one of the continues. It's I feel like anybody could kind of pick this up and play it. It was very enjoyable. The sprites were definitely, at some points, there was just so many things coming at you just couldn't focus on one thing. So I feel like overall this game was pretty sweet. This is the final boss right here, and it's almost like a Pong type of thing. When he shoots those things out, this is the second, not the second form, but the second attack. It won't let you hit him. Yeah, but anyway, that's pretty much towards the end. I think that was my last continue, and finally finished that one out. And yeah, not too bad. They gave you what, 4 or 5 secondary weapons or special weapons or whatever. So not too bad all the way around. I definitely enjoyed this one. Great pick there, Shadowless.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to expand on that too. We were talking about you said it's too bad they didn't make a second one, and like I completely agree with that because usually, the first time around can be kind of rough. It's they're experimenting, trying new stuff out, trying to figure it out, and usually the sequel kind of like fixes that. So I'd really have been interested to see what they could have done, making a second one of these, what they would have done the second time around.
Yeah, I don't know if there was there like a difficulty? Like I know when you start the game, I mean, I literally just went straight in and just I didn't even check the options or stuff like that. I just wasn't sure if there was a setter, like a marker you could do, or if it was just
there is, and I did it, and I do it shamelessly. I don't care. I played it on easy mode.
I mean, it doesn't matter either way. I mean, as long as you have a chance to check out the game.
Plays on easy because he's not good enough for normal.
Why not?
Wow.
Hey, I beat you on the regular default on Donkey Kong, so what do you want with that?
There you go.
I beat you by like 45
there you
minutes.
Go. It doesn't matter. It's a win or lose thing, right?
Like he says, that boss looks epic. Yeah, at first I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on because he just throws the different things at you, and then halfway through I lost, I think, like 2 continues on him alone. Because there was this one part where he would move real slow, and it would almost look like he would spit or it was like glass shattering, and it would only like all these little particles would come at you. So at first you'd like, okay, well that's just part of the background. No, that's like one of his attacks, and it like destroys your health because it's like thousands of these little particles coming at you. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some like, I don't know if you would call it like screen fodder, but like stuff that comes at you in this game.
Man, definitely.
And what's interesting is I think probably one of my favorite aspects of this is I don't know what you would call it, but it's like it's not even a motorcycle, it's like a unicycle. There's the very first level you start out, there's kind of this cool like motorcycle-y ship that just follows you kind of as a companion. But you can completely dock yourself in it.
Yeah.
And it has its own set of life. It's how you would swap your special abilities. So it's kind of like this traveling hub companion.
Yeah.
Like for anybody that doesn't know, you can't change your specials without that hub. Because it's not just that unicycle motorcycle thing either. You get a ship in the middle of the game.
Ship thing, or it literally looks like a handgun, really. Like a blaster or something.
It's like a little Batwing. And you have to be in there to change your special weapon.
Chaos. I was thinking the same thing. Chaos said definitely a bullet hell game with different feels. With some of the spots that, like I said, there were so many projectiles coming at you. It literally felt like a piece of a bullet hell at certain points of the game. Absolutely.
But you know what? Something I do have to say about it though is that like it doesn't feel overly unfair.
No, not at all.
If you took your time on a level, like you could probably make your way through it pretty carefully and do what you needed to do without like dying. And I don't know. I mean, again, I'm usually kind of a puss when it comes to like certain games of difficulty, and if there's a certain difficulty spike, I'm like, screw it, I'm out. But this is not one of those. Like, this is one of those that it's like, yeah, there's a challenge on some stuff, but I wanted to keep going. It wasn't like this is just overly difficult and it's beating me down, and I don't want to do anything after this. Like I wanted to stick with it. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it can provide the right level of challenge. I don't know what hard mode's like. I dare not look.
Like I said, there were certain spots on some of those levels where literally you're like, you almost just want to like just rush forward just to like, let me figure out where these enemies that I have to take out are, just because there's so many things chasing you and coming at you. It's just like, oh my God, I don't even, you're pretty much praying half of the time.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it, I suppose. Slow-mo, do you have footage? Are you still working on footage?
Oh, I have footage. Yeah.
What's your
before I get into that, I just want to point out that Shadowloose, I wore this shirt just for you.
Great, perfect.
There you go.
All right, into my footage. I had to blow out everybody's eardrums real quick. So I mean, obviously, this game was good. I agree with everybody here. Anything where you like move side to side and shoot stuff, it's a good time. But it was definitely hard. I didn't beat the game. I know I had 2 weeks to play it, but I still only played it for a week. I played it last week. No, the week before. The first week we were. And then after that, I didn't play it anymore because I didn't want to cheat and use 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's a really fun game. I don't know what else to say besides what you all have already said. The music was cool. I enjoyed
Do you
that.
have a favorite level or anything that you
A favorite
through?
level? No, I don't.
Nothing.
No, because I mean they were all equally good. Like,
and each one was different too.
Yeah, like I don't have one that just like stood out to me, but like I mean this boss fight was dumb. I hated this boss fight.
Oh yeah, that's the only one that's like a little weak. It's kind of like to put it in a perspective for people that can't see the whole thing. It's like I call it an environmental boss. It's not a big monster that's there fighting you. It's that there's buildings or certain things in the environment that you have to destroy. So you basically have to destroy these like ground to air guns, and then once you do that, there's like a computer in the middle, and if you don't shoot it right, it'll pretty much counterattack you, right? Like I don't know how else to describe that, but
I think if I had to pick any levels that I enjoyed more, it would either be the cave or the jungle level, where you have to actually like find that sunlight to recharge. Because it added a different mechanic that the other levels didn't have. And as far as the game goes, this is the last part I made it to. I think this is like the last level before the final boss, or somewhere very close to it. I made it pretty far in this level, and I died and game overed, and I was like, I'm not doing it again.
I think that's the exact same spot that like I ended up. We were it seems like you and I basically,
it was so close to the end. I wasn't playing the whole game again to finish off.
Well,
a little tiny portion of the game.
Well, and to be clear for some people too, like the objective per level is not to get from like point A to point B.
There's a mission.
There's that counter right there in the center. If people can see, that is literally these designated enemies you have to take out, or hubs that you have to take out depending on the level.
And it is a mini map too, so like if you move close, it will pop up on that little radar. So you'll know you're close to it.
It reminds me a lot of I think both of you have played it, but Zombies Ate My Neighbors, where if you use the radar in Zombies Ate My Neighbors, it's it tells you how many people you have left to save, and then it kind of beeps when you're getting in proximity. And so you have to do the same thing to destroy enemies with this one.
So I believe, as a matter of fact, it's completely off topic with this, just because you brought up Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I found out the other day that the Super Nintendo, I believe that might be what it is. The Super Nintendo version doesn't have the map on.
Oh no, it does.
My Neighbors, does it?
It does, because that's the one that I have, and I think it's a far superior version to this Sega Genesis.
See, I was gonna say, I feel like the Genesis, something I played both. I played the Genesis version, and then I tried the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo version, and I noticed there was something different. I thought it was the map, but maybe it's not.
It might be the if there's one that doesn't have the map, it might be the Genesis one, because the way you open up the map on the Super Nintendo, I think, is the left bumper.
Oh, see, on the Sega Genesis one, it's always there.
Oh, it is.
So maybe they both do have the map. I just didn't know you had to press a button.
Yeah, you can turn it on or off.
Oh, okay.
Shadowloo's only likes the Super Nintendo version better because there's no combo controls.
That is phenomenally correct. And then B, on top of that, the sound chip. That this is one of those games. I'm not saying it's for every game. But you know how we talk about how the Sega Genesis has a very distinct sound chip in it? This is one of those where the sound is just so much better on the Super Nintendo version. Like, it definitely feels like they built it on the SNES first and ported it to the Genesis. So you kind of got the short end of the stick there. But anyway, that's Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Anyway, that's Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Yeah, small segue there. Yep.
LucasArts. Yeah, we're on that Ranger X money right now. So I'm trying to think of anything else to cover. You said there was 5 power-ups. There is
like 5 or 6 of them.
Chaos wants to know if Ranger X is for both systems, and no.
It is a Genesis exclusive. In fact, I'm pretty positive that it was published by Sega. So it's Sega's game. Yeah. It wasn't developed by Sega, but it was published by Sega. So it's this is what I say. It's like if you had a Genesis top 10 or top 20, whatever, like if you're going to get a Genesis and get a game for it, in my personal opinion, I know we haven't ranked it yet, this is one of those to check out. This is one that I'd want to have in that arsenal. I'm
going to go off topic here real quick and say, Shadowloo's, you might have been correct about Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Because it did come out for the Super Nintendo in September of 93 and released on Sega in November of 93.
See, like I said, I've played them both, and not trying to sound biased, I enjoy the music on the Genesis better.
Oof.
He loves that sound chip.
So I mean,
it's okay to be wrong sometimes, you know. So, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, so I do have my my clips here, which I'm gonna gracefully talk over as well. Right. Hopefully the sound doesn't blast you out. I don't know. Maybe
Chaos said, "Wonder if they'll revive it." Sega is bringing back sequels to their old.
This is what I would love,
but I don't think they will, because all the other games that they're bringing back, they did at least multiple versions of.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're bringing back the Cap Attack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into Shadowloo's video.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the wrong thing. There we go.
Yeah, you might have to adjust the volume, but I wanted to use some of the soundtrack because it's. Oh, you just straight up mute it. Then I see.
I went too far.
Because the soundtrack's great.
Yeah.
And I love here. Start over the video really quick because I want to talk about that. I remember that intro just like this. Every level starts out with a mission briefing like this. And I love that. I love it. It has this awesome, just ambient, cool sound to it. And it's like basically getting you prepped for the mission. It feels very Star Fox-ish. And I know Slow-Mo said the first time that he saw that, he got very worried.
Because
he thought the game was going to be like that.
I thought it was going to be Star Fox, and I was going to cry.
Yeah, no, so not at all. I just thought that's a really cool effect, or a really cool way to like sort of, brief you
an
to
opening,
the start of the level. And then a lot of people usually never talk about the first level, but I think this is a great intro into this game. It kind of gives you an idea of what you need to beat and introduces you to your companion and how he follows you. I wanted to show here, this is one thing we briefly touched on, your power meters. So what you use for your special abilities recharges only in the sun.
Yeah.
So when you're in the cave, you have to sort of be very careful about when you use that ability. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can charge up your rear wheel jump so you can bounce really high with it. But it is kind of cool in the cave. It's like there are some like rock clusters in the ceiling that you can shoot out and it'll drop sunlight down so you can charge up. This, I just think even the scrolling effect between the bays, how they launch, I wanted to highlight that, like how you move back and forth.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
I mean, like there are so many awesome just visual details in the background. The darkening when you go into the forest versus when you fly up into the sky and it starts to bring up the light. And there's your companionship that you can change all your abilities in. Like, I love all that. And that thing fires too. It fires a really powerful shot, but it's just slow.
Yeah.
This is a tower climb level. You can see in the background the scrolling of kind of like the city lights or whatever those are supposed to be. Like, I love it. Visually, this looks awesome. You can see the reflections in the glass move up when you go up and down of other buildings. Like, so cool. I love it. And this intro feels like an anime. Like, it has the music and everything that plays while it's going and it goes through the credits. Like, awesome. Straight up awesome. Love it.
I thought of one complaint. The only complaint I had about this game is if you wanted to shoot to the left, you had to press A, and if you wanted to shoot to the right, you had to press C.
Change
instead of using the arrow keys, the directional pad, you had to use the
A or C.
A or C.
Yeah,
that's my only complaint.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things that it's like it takes a second
to kind of figure out,
get your brain to adjust to that.
It took me about an hour and 45 minutes
to adjust to it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where like
it's just so unnatural in a video game.
I completely agree. And you know what? Here, I've got like a Genesis controller with me. But basically what Slow-Mo's saying is like, if you want to shoot in one direction, you're going to hold, like C to shoot to the right. And then you're going to hold A to shoot to the left. And that's how your character pivots.
Yeah.
So the D-pad is 100% just spatial movement.
Right.
But the direction that you shoot in is dependent on the button that you're pressing. And like, it's weird. I think you could argue it both ways. One way you could argue that it's like it's intuitive and that nobody's done it before, but the other way is like that it's not like anything else does it. I think about twin stick shooters. Like this is like an early twin stick shooter thing. You've got one that's just completely dependent on movement, and the other is like which way am I shooting?
Yeah.
There's no other stick though.
I would put it at like it may have been good in its time. But it didn't hold up.
We'll never know because we never had a sequel. You know, we never know what they could have done.
But we've had other games similar to this that didn't do that, and it was it is the inferior mechanic.
I see that's like okay, so I'm not gonna vouch for it either because again, I think it is one of those things when you first play it coming off of other games, it's totally unnatural. But like, I definitely appreciate some of that while you're trying to adjust. Like while flying or whatever, and you want to focus on your flying movement, you can sort of hold one direction knowing that my shots are being made or whatever,
right.
And I'm not having to aim and shoot all kind of with the same movement. I would look at something like Power Blade, right? Like you got to move, and then while you're shooting, you have to be aiming, kind of thing. So I don't know. It's like it's not perfect. I'm agreeing with you. It's not perfect, and it probably is one of the biggest flaws if you had to play this game. But like at least they tried. I don't know if that's the way,
I will say out of all the game mechanics that I've hated so far on the series, it does not anywhere near compare to the tank controls of Silent Hill.
or any game of that era that does the tank controls.
I would rather play the AC mechanic any day of the week.
Yeah, when's that Silent Hill 2 remake coming out? Is that coming out soon, or did they not like announce it? It's got to be Halloween, right?
I'm not 100%
or is it June?
Sure.
I think it's June. Because that's the one I'm looking forward to now. But anyway, I didn't mean to distract from that. I was thinking about it now. You brought it up. I want to know.
It just says 2024 release date.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Okay. Maybe they
does it say? Did we already talk about? Is that going to be exclusive to PlayStation, or is that going to be?
It's timed based off of everything. They promoted it as an exclusive, but it's going to launch exclusively to PlayStation. I don't think it's going to be completely exclusive. So it should be a timed exclusive based off of one of the articles that I read.
Gotcha.
It's okay if it never comes to Xbox because I'm never going to play it.
I'm gonna play it.
Oh, of course.
I feel like it's going to be.
You almost have to.
The gameplay that I've seen definitely looks like it's going to be like the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake.
Yeah. So. Yeah, if it's like that, if it's to that level of quality, hands down, you'll have no complaints from me. I'll spend the full amount getting that game for sure. I'm almost disappointed that I didn't give Capcom more money for the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, because I bought them so long after the fact that they were, on sale for $20 or whatever, and I loved those games so much. If it's anything like that, no qualms from my end. I will be all about it.
I can just, I think of better games that could use a remake.
I mean, I could too.
Like Bulletstorm.
Again, it's wrong to be, it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
I will die on that hill that Bulletstorm is probably the best PlayStation 3 game.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever played that.
You probably should, because it's amazing.
Is it just for PlayStation?
It was just on sale for Xbox for what was it, $3 or something?
It's free on PlayStation Premium.
Oh, is it right now?
Yeah. You can play for free on PlayStation.
Yeah, it's on multiple consoles. It's
everywhere. They want you to play the game.
I think
Are you talking about this game that I have that I've never played? This game right here that I have that I've never played? I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have that.
We're gonna end the stream right now so Freedom can go play Bulletstorm.
Oh jeez. Whatever.
Is that strictly online, or is there an actual halfway decent story, or
there's a story, a whole story.
You know what? I think what I'm gonna have to do. I have my 360 still hooked up because I was playing Silent Hill Homecoming the other day. I might have to put that on stream then. I think I know what that's what I want to do, since now I've got the Discord pulled into my live streams on TikTok so people can jump in and out of the voice channel and be on the stream. I'm gonna have to have Slow-Mo do that at one point in time so he can walk me through every aspect of why. I want him to sell me on why he loves that game so much. I want to understand.
Are you gonna play it while I talk about it?
Yes.
All right, cool. I'll do it.
Yes,
I'm down.
I will 1000% do that. Yes.
I don't know really why I love it. It's
fine,
fun for
great,
me.
Perfect. So you can,
it's kind of got but it's kind of got like that Duke Nukem sense of humor, like the dark, more adult themed humor.
Chaos says, "I'll leave the bullet hell games to you pros."
And you level up your leash. It's called the leash. You level that up by experience points, and you get experience points by doing different types of kills.
Okay.
So you can kick somebody into a wall of spikes, and that's a different type of killing somebody than shooting.
They've got
them in the head.
that. Oh, dude, you're selling me even more and more.
I haven't, and they've got such cool names. Like you can kill somebody by shooting them in the groin area, and that has its own name and its own kill and its own point system.
Nice.
Wasn't Bulletstorm the one that tanked so hard it was like Cliff Bleszinski's last game?
It was.
Made him.
Yeah. That was his last game. Yeah, that was his last game.
He put his all into that, and then it was just like,
yeah. While Shadow loses trash in this game, let's rank it. And we're gonna rank it. I just forgot to set up the screen share.
Oh, perfect.
Piece of trash.
So all right. We're talking about. Oh, well, speaking of pieces of trash, there's this little game that was made by Cliff Bleszinski, his last one called Bulletstorm.
No. We moved on.
Oh. Wow.
Oh. All right. Actually, I put this at an A. That is no indicator of how I feel about this game, and I actually mean it this time. Usually, I say that, and it is not true, but this time it is true.
So I don't remember the ordering of this. Do I have to go first? Is that how that's supposed to work?
We just
not necessarily.
Okay.
If y'all want me to go first, I would put it at a B. It's a really solid game, but I wouldn't put it up there with those titles. I don't think it's as good as the games that are already in the A. I think it's a very high middle of the road game.
Okay.
Even I wouldn't play it over Rocket Knight, but because I love Rocket Knight, but I would play it over any of the games in the C and D category.
I gotta say I agree with you on the B aspect. Like I said, I enjoyed the game in its entirety. The soundtrack was different on each level of the soundtrack. It was pretty good. It wasn't really anything to write home about, but I enjoyed the fact that it was different. I do find myself hearing the second level music the one that you used for the opening, Shadowloo's of your video. I do have that like kind of stuck in my head a little bit. The gameplay was great. The controls were great. I know you guys had a hard, or at least Slow-Mo had a hard way to go with the A and C directional thing. That didn't really bother me hardly at all once I got used to it.
It was dumb.
The difficulty, like you said, Shadowloo's wasn't overly difficult. You can come back to it and you kind of take your time with certain spots. It wasn't too bad. The bosses, every single boss was different. You had to figure out what the weakness was. And overall, like you said, I think anybody can kind of pick this game up if they wanted to check out some like obscure but not too obscure type of Genesis game. I think it really does very very well. The only thing I would have enjoyed a little bit more, I know it's really limited because it's a Genesis game, was a little bit more of a story than just a little bit of opening it gave you and then the final cutscene that it gave you. It didn't really explain too much, but you kind of got the gist of it. But other than that, overall, I think it's a pretty great game to set up. So I would definitely say a high B.
Everybody who knows me knows I don't give two shits about the story.
Yeah.
So,
Is there ever a game that you wanted to understand the story?
The Bulletstorm.
Okay.
Great story.
Yeah.
Fantastic story.
It's funny to think that that's a perk that there's less story, because I was thinking about that. It's like, yeah, this is one of those games that it totally just throws you in
and says sink or swim.
No, yeah. But there's definitely games that I care about the story, like Hollow Knight.
Okay.
I love Hollow Knight. Red Dead Redemption 2. I paid attention to that whole story. Matter of fact, the story is why I have never beat that game.
Over here, that's no surprise to me.
I mean,
I
do love a good Western, but the story of Red Dead Redemption 2 is why I've never beaten Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, really? Just because it's long in the tooth, or what kind of thing?
No, let's just say there's some character development that kind of hits the heartstrings, and don't want it to happen, so I stopped playing the game.
Okay, got it. Man, I was going into this really thinking like A. I was thinking A. And a couple reasons why. One, you don't necessarily see a game that does some of the things that this one does. I mean, definitely I don't think on the Genesis, and I would argue on the Super Nintendo either. Like the whole kind of like being able to go into your vehicles and all that stuff. Like I love that. I love the companion vehicle thing. Great. Love it. I was also a fan.
Reminds you of Blaster Master from from the NES a little bit, yeah.
NES eras, yeah. It does in a little bit. I guess the tank doesn't necessarily like help you in the same fashion that this one kind of does, but like I get where you're going with that. Yeah, I loved the soundtrack to it. I thought the uniqueness of levels was great, even though there was like they kind of did them in a part 1, part 2. The part 2s, for the most part, I feel like look different enough that you wouldn't really recognize them from the first. So even though I think they say there's something like, what is it, like 4 levels or 5 levels, and they're in 2 parts each, it's like they still feel like individual levels to me. So I don't know. I thought there was enough variety in there. I like the length of playtime to like kind of go from the start to end is pretty quick. You're not going to be spending 10 million years on it. Difficulty options, love it, baby. Not much stuff at difficulty options back in the day. Love that. And the art style was cool. The sprite work was really, really good in this game. A lot of the 3D background effects and stuff like that, I really liked. So I was thinking like, yeah, this is definitely like an A in my mind. But looking at this ranking now, like putting up against like Donkey Kong Country 2, or even Celeste, or like Mystical Ninja, it's like, dang, I probably would pick those over this. And I don't know if that's just because of like a bias against, I don't want to say Genesis. Like I would have to hook up my Genesis to play this versus, Super Nintendo, which is probably already hooked up. But like, I do feel like I'd probably play it as much as I would like Rocket Knight Adventures. Like I'd probably be on the same level as that. So I'm fine with a B. I think a B is okay for this. I think it would fit there fairly well.
2 YouTube comments I want to go ahead and chime in on real quick. Chaos says you can definitely tell a lot of heart and soul into making it, and I agree. It is a very well made game.
Yep.
And 2, Diablo says Slow-Mo needs to play Horizon Zero Dawn before Horizon Forbidden West to get the full story. And on that, I have to say, if you think I have any idea of what's going on in Horizon Forbidden West, you're crazy, because I have not watched a single cutscene. And continue.
You're just looking where the next objective identifier is taking you.
That's it. You take me there and I'll kill it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna make my own story as I go.
Right.
It's so funny because my wife's a fan of Harry Potter, so I was like, dude, bonding moment. I'm like, I'm getting Hogwarts Legacy for the PS5. I know nothing about that game. I just heard really good things, and I'm like, I'm gonna set it up. She'll play it, and I'm just gonna hang out and watch. That you would hate that game, Slow-Mo. That game is all character development, all story, all character development. I mean, there's some like cool worldy things in there, but like for real, there's a lot of talking, buddy. You'd be zoned out.
So you're not really big into like the Bethesda games, then, are you, Slow-Mo?
Who?
Bethesda. It's like who? What?
Who? Skyrim. What?
I would argue there's not really
not just Skyrim. I mean, Oblivion was good. Morrowind was okay. I mean, if they remastered the graphics on Morrowind.
What? No. Leave it alone. Leave Morrowind alone.
No, Morrowind was great. They just need to redo the graphics.
They don't even
have never played a Bethesda game.
You know what's interesting? Out of all, knowing like you like Baldur's Gate 3, out of all the Elder Scrolls games you like, you'd probably like Morrowind the most because it is a lot more D&D dice roll based, like in terms of the mechanics. So I think it's interesting. I mean, I know you haven't played any of them, but that's usually the one thing.
Doesn't have any cutscenes.
So which one?
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you skip all those?
No. Chaos makes a very valid point.
Not this time.
He likes Baldur's Gate 3 because it's D&D. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but that's where like a lot of people don't even understand like your skill sheets and stuff on Morrowind. Like they're very broken out.
They are
super specific. Whereas like newer games, it's just like, oh yeah, you have blunt weapon proficiency, or one-handed weapon proficiency.
Yeah.
Is how Skyrim boil it down. Morrowind, it's like, nah, dude, you got to be good with like short blade, long blade, throwing weapons, spears, axes. Like it's individual weapon development, like in terms of how you level and stuff like that. So, yeah, I love Morrowind for that though, because it feels like the character that you make is your character. And when you get into Oblivion, it's like half yours, half Bethesda's character. And Skyrim is just like, okay, this is 80% like Bethesda's idea of a character, and I'm picking and choosing some fancy stuff to go with it, So I don't know. I could talk. Morrowind is my bullet storm. Morrowind's like top, favorite game of all time.
I really enjoyed Morrowind.
Yeah,
I was actually happy at the fact that
it's probably top 10 for sure. Bulletstorm. I was gonna say I don't think it's my favorite game, but it's definitely top 10.
Okay, I don't want to know your number one.
I'm definitely gonna play now. Because first off, I completely forgot I had the game, and I've never played it. So,
my number one of all time?
No. I said I don't want to know your number one. I said I'll leave that for some other time. I want to know your number two. What didn't make the cut to be number one? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question.
Stay tuned for the next episode of First Round Showdown podcast.
Chaos says, "Is it real time?" I think it might be.
I really loved it. It didn't hold up well. The controls are shit now. Now that you can go back and play it, Dead to Rights, fantastic game.
I've got
from the PlayStation 2
Did
era.
they come out with 2 or was it just the 1?
They came out with 2.
I think I might have both of them for the PlayStation.
And
2.
I love Dead to Rights on the PlayStation 2.
That's now the one where you got the dog, right?
Little hard, yeah. It's a little hard to play now because of the controls, but back in the day, fantastic game.
Yeah, I do remember those because those definitely have like some of the bullet timey stuff on them, right? Like, can you slow down while you're jumping and shooting, or no? Is that not that one? Or am I thinking of Max Payne?
That was Max Payne, yeah.
But I think they did it too. There's a whole group of games from that time.
Would like Rage for the PlayStation 3 and the 360. I have Rage once again. Never played it. I have it in my collection, but never played it.
I actually think I have it downloaded and I've never played it.
Yeah.
Rage?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: Rage 1 and Rage 2 are.
Is that supposed to be almost like a like another Mad Max type of game?
Rage 1, that's definitely where they were going with it. This was id Software's first game coming off the heels of Doom 3.
Okay.
So that was like the Doom 3 engine, id Tech. What was it? Was it 3 at the time? I don't even remember. That was a really, really big deal for them. And
talking about Doom 3, I love Doom 3.
Yeah, Doom 3 is great too, which I will argue, not to go off on another tangent, but Doom 3, the best version of that is on the original Xbox. And the reason it's the best version is because there is Xbox Live 2-player co-op through all of the story of Doom 3, and that's the only way to play co-op on Doom 3 is on the original Xbox. So
I thought of another game that
I enjoyed
the story on.
Another great reason.
There you go.
Sweet, sweet metal case.
Which those were not a regular thing at the time, for sure.
No, they were not.
Is that
I have the Red Dead Redemption 2 special edition case too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thought of another game that I enjoyed the story on. Days Gone.
Oh, I was gonna pick that up. Did that also have a PS5 release, or was that like PS4 only?
I'm not sure, but I know I really enjoyed.
I know that title.
So it's a zombie apocalypse type game, but he's looking for his wife.
Is that the guy with the motorcycle?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's looking for his wife.
Looks like slow-mo right now. Just if you put him on a motorcycle.
She's dead, But he never stops looking. Everybody else in the game's like, you're probably.
He has a wife, but she's dead. My favorite game.
I got another great metal 10.
Oh, nice.
Perfect Dark.
What is that one called? Is it like Perfect Dark 0 or something?
Yeah, Perfect Dark 0 for the 360.
Perfect Dark 0. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think Shadowloose, do you have anything you want to replace Ranger X with?
Oh man, I always forget that I have to replace it. And you know what? I had an idea for which one it was, but I don't remember off the top of my head now. So I'm gonna.
I thought you said the other day you wanted to put Brutal Legend on there.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, I forgot it. I mean, I would totally play that. I'm okay putting that on the wheel.
That's Jack Black, right? No, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, slow-mo. I'd have to.
I mean, you can get back to it. It doesn't have to be right now.
I will.
You have until next. Well, technically, it's supposed to be when we spin the wheel.
I mean, he'll just have a disadvantage going into the wheel.
That's fine.
Chaos. I'm gonna have to make a video too, going through my collection. I definitely haven't made any videos about that for a while, so
I think it's time then that we spin the wheel.
Roll.
Yeah, let's spin it. I know it won't happen. But
by the way, talking about Rage, I just saw it over at the 360 collection. It's the Anarchy edition. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I think there was like
extra crazy.
Really?
I think there was one DLC pack or something. So I remember the big thing about Rage is what it was. It was John Carmack's first standalone game directing it, because John Carmack was always a behind-the-scenes technology guy. And the game kind of flopped, and that's when he left.
No!
Yeah, baby! That's not a SNES game.
That's not. It was okay. It says SNES because it was originally Porky Pig's Haunted Holiday.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah. I'm down for Mega Man X4, baby.
Nice. We've been talking about this for a long time.
This is probably
the
second best
Griff when you need him.
Right.
This is probably the second best X game compared to just X. So I'm like totally ready for X4.
He's texting Griff right now.
I am.
He's like, Griff, you need to pay attention here.
You know what we should do? Well, man, I guess you don't know it, because I was gonna say this would be another great one to like race, but you don't know that you haven't played this at all, have you, Slow-mo? Like you're going
not even for a second.
I haven't played this one either. The only Mega Man X game I've ever played was the very first one.
I remember where I bought my copy of Mega Man X4, and it was one of those things that it's like it was at the GameStop in a mall in Prescott, Arizona. And it was like, we used to go up there on the weekends, and I'm like, gosh, shit, I kind of wanted something new to play. And so I went in there, and the game was, $40. It was like kind of just came out. And I was like, oh, they're still making Mega Man game? Like, it was a shock to me that like Mega Man was still a thing. Because like I used to play the hell out of Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. And I'm like, oh, interesting. A Mega Man game for the PS1. Sounds good. I'm gonna risk it. And I love that game. I fell in love with that game. So yeah, X4 is really, really good.
Chaos says, so the real question is, who is playing X and who is playing He-Ha-Hoo a lot?
Seeing
challenge for this one: play X and Zero runs? No.
Oh
No.
yeah, I don't.
Wait a minute. So, okay, so do we have to select which one we do, or is it
You do whatever you want? I don't care.
You do
Just
whichever
yeah,
one
you can play.
Which
it
one's
through...
the more difficult?
Zero.
I would argue Zero, because so the reason is because he's got a sword, so you have to be close range on your attacks. But I think what's the trade-off though? I always forget about that because Zero has more health than X or something like that. There's some sort of trade-off as to how it kind of balances out a little bit. Zero's harder for bosses, X is harder for levels. That's a great way of listing that out. A much more elegant means of explaining that.
I will be streaming this in Griff's Discord in hopes that he comes in and helps me.
It's one of those things that I'm not sure you're gonna need much help. Like these ones have, I think, more secrets. The X4, X5, and X6 have more secrets than the previous X games ever did. But especially when you get into X5 and X6, and there's multiple armor sets, and you can customize your attacks and abilities and stuff like that. Like X4 is kind of like not there yet. It really feels like a great expansion to X.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nova Star is here. Welcome in.
Hey there. Hi. Hello.
I also already know what I'm replacing this game with, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
Really?
Yes.
Bullets
Porky Pig is going back on the list.
Oh, I'll totally play Porky Pigs. That's another one that I grew up with that I'm like, nobody has any idea what the hell this is.
I love that game.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's an acid trip of a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't even really look into that. I'm curious as to like who developed that now, because
I mean, I can find out right now. I got it sitting next to me.
It's just kind of like bonkers. I don't know.
Acclaim. Sunsoft and Acclaim.
Sunsoft, okay. Casey,
okay.
coming in at the end. What is going on there, buddy? Appreciate you stopping in.
Oh boy, can't wait for Mega Man X4.
I'm
gonna play X3 and say I got confused.
I feel like this one's gonna take a little bit of time.
You're crazy if you'd rather play X3 over X4. X4 is so much better. X2 and X3 I think are ones that I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever go back to. Like I almost after X3, I almost just gave away my copy because I was just like.
So we're doing a trivia question. X4
we want to do one. We got some time. Got a little bit of time.
Who's got one to throw out there off the top of the head?
Well, I was talking about before. See, now that we're on the spot, I can't think of anything.
I bet somebody has to have one. Let's see, video game trivia.
I mean, I could pull up the one that I have. Let me open up in a new window.
I'm really bad at those guess the sound videos you put out. So bad at them. Like the only way I'm ever getting one is if you like do the Lion King or something.
Okay.
Oh, really? Sounds like you generally do a good job. Okay, I mean, here I've got some. It's 133 video game trivia questions ranked from easiest to hardest, updated for 2024.
Go to the hardest immediately.
You want the hardest immediately? Let's see.
Yeah, I want to see how hard it is.
Okay, question 133. The video game franchise developed by EA Sports titled NCAA Football, last released in 2014, had what man's name included in the game title for its first 2 iterations?
No idea. Not a big sports fan.
I would not have guessed this at all, but
I don't know the answer.
The answer is Bill Walsh.
Why?
So you failed that.
Yeah, I sure did. Okay.
The
hardest non-sports game question, please.
Okay, that is question 132. I to be fair, the answer, I've never heard of this game, so I wouldn't have guessed it. But it says, according to Apple, the most popular free game downloaded on iPhones in 2018 was Fortnite. The second most popular game was an endless play style of game where you try to get a ball down a set of platforms as you avoid red platforms. What was the second most
I've seen that. I have
game?
no idea what that's called. I've seen it. I've seen it. I don't know what that is.
It is called Helix Jump.
Yeah, I've played that game.
Okay, you guys might be able to guess this one. I mean, I probably would have guessed it. It says, what was the name of the color digital camera device similar to a webcam for the PlayStation 2? Released in 2003, the 6-letter device used computer vision and gesture recognition to allow players to interact with games.
I think I know. Do you know what it is, Slow-Mo?
I feel like
I have it. I'm pretty sure I have it in my collection.
I have
like 2 or 3 other games.
I thought it was called. I don't know the first part of it.
Okay, so let me tell you this. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint.
I don't need a hint. I think I know what it is.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the iToy.
That is correct.
I knew it had I in it.
So that's what I was gonna say. My hint was gonna be that the PlayStation 3, the sequel to it, came out on the PlayStation 3, and it was just called the PlayStation 3 i.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And I have one of those too. I used it a ton, believe it or not.
It says I know it's yes.
All right, keep asking questions until I get one right.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of Fortnite questions here. I'm like, I don't know anything about Fortnite.
That's a kid's game.
You might know this is an old one. What is the name of the video game that originated All Your Base Are Belong to Us?
Oh,
I can picture the guy's name. All right, picture his face that says it to you and everything.
I think I don't know if I have the right name. All Your Base belongs to me.
All Your Base Are Belong to Us. It was a poorly translated game from Japanese to English. And so it became a famous line that the character says. It says, all your base are belong to us.
I think I might know it. You want to take a guess there, Slow-Mo?
No.
I'm going to say, is it Commander Keen?
No, it is Zero Wing.
Zero Wing. Okay. Zero Wing.
You might be able to guess this since you guys are Sega guys. This is a Sega Dreamcasty question. What 2-word video game franchise is considered a score attack racing game and is often considered innovative for its use of in-game advertising and its soundtrack provided by punk bands The Offspring
Crazy Taxi
and Bad Religion? That is right.
Crazy Taxi.
There it is, baby. Right. There it is.
I knew it. I knew it like halfway through the question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Good stuff.
There was Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say we'll definitely have to throw in something like this coming up.
We could do that for sure. We can totally do that.
I have a trivia thing that I've been working on for like a year and a half now. I just never really pulled the trigger on it.
We should do a trivia like 1 week. Not saying like frequently, but like 1 week every so often we do a trivia thing, and the winner gets to pick the next week's game.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh, maybe we could do that after all of us have had a game picked on the wheel. So meaning, you hit one of yours, Freedom hits one of it, I hit one of mine. At that point, we've all had a game.
So next time
Freedom hits. Okay.
After that, we'll do a trivia stream.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm good for that.
But we'll handcraft the questions so they're not easily found on the internet.
Right.
And then we have to jumble them together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I'm good for that.
Nice.
And then instead of rolling a fan vote, that's how we get the fan votes. The winner of trivia gets to pick the game.
We should all represent a fan as a delegate.
Wait a minute. Josh has one right there in the comments. He said, how about who was the Final Fantasy boss in Super Mario RPG?
Oh, I know that one.
I don't think I know that one.
Gino. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know the game it's from too? No, it's the boss, the secret boss, which is located in Monstro Town, is Kulex. That's Kulex and his 4 elemental crystals that you can fight. He's the hardest boss in the game. He's actually harder than the final boss of the game. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I loved it. It was great Easter.
We have gone over our time.
No, I mean, we've been streaming for 59 minutes and 38 seconds, 39 seconds, 40
All right, you got 20 seconds, guys.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding. But thank you all for hanging out with us. This is a good episode.
Yep. Great game, great pick. Mega Man X4 coming up.
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm going to do Mega Man Gauntlet again, I think. I'm just going to go through all of them. Mega Man X4, baby.
And then you're going to go crazy.
I will go crazy, for sure.
Nice.
For sure.
Well, it's great seeing you guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping back in. It's great to see all you guys. Much love.
We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Yep. Take it easy, guys.